Thank you for joining me. For those of you who are new here, I'm Cynthia Greer, spiritualist who works at the in-depth level of the soul. That means I cover every aspect of spirituality. I help you to see things a little bit more clearly in order to give you insight into what you are studying and the particular path that you are on, so that you remain grounded and centered instead of getting caught up in fantasy and illusion. That being said, I am the author of 5 published books. I am self-funded, self-promoted. There is not a soul on this earth behind what I do. So I make a lot of sacrifices to keep up my equipment and bring my material out to the public. So the algorithms of like, subscribing, and sharing really help me in a great way. So let's get on to it. Authoritarianism. Why are we living under it? And since when did we lose our democracy in the United States of America? Well, my personal awakening to this came many, many years ago, because I could see all the signs, being the history buff that I am, and I had been concerned for our country for a very long time. But the grand awakening to it came when I found my tumor and I fell into a very corrupt medical system. And that was over 20 years ago. And I could see how everything was tying in politically. And since I was given a second chance at life, an extension, if you will, I knew that it was my duty to educate as many souls as I could and bring the truth to light. So I'm going to read a passage to start with out of my book, Medical Malpractice, The Uncharted Journey, which ties in to everything that we are going through with authoritarianism. It's a given that criminals have a hand in every aspect of our lives. For the most part, our society is controlled by hardcore criminals. This is why the average person can't afford the exorbitant cost of health care. But this also includes basic, standard, safe living conditions, as well as the right to the necessities of life that promote dignity and well-being. Meals, proper clothing, education, freedom of choice to develop your gifts and abilities that are God-given, that you came in with, without being scrutinized and forced into a mold that dictates a one way of thinking, believing, or living life. Because, after all, America originally was about freedom of speech and the freedom to earn a living and live your life and develop at a soul level. Now, what we have is those in the upper working class usually live a stressful lifestyle. It's often due to maintaining a false image. They continually stay in debt to impress others. As a result, they never shut down their mind. Many develop stress-related health problems that often lead to catastrophic illnesses. The working poor, unemployed, disabled, and elderly usually give up. They accept the system for what it is. They end up with little to no health care. Even if they have doctors, their real health issues often go undiagnosed. Many die from illnesses that could have been cured. Most people never develop their own identity. They live their lives through others on social media. And this, I personally feel, is the root of the inability to really be aware of where we are at and what is going on. Because the last 2 generations of children born have grown up in a culture where observance and monitoring and gag orders are common. It is a natural way of life to be repressed. And it may not seem like that with some of the things that are going on, but it's real. And it's here. And on a daily basis, we are scoped and we are censored if we are going to pave the way and shed light on certain subjects. Because in authoritarianism, that can only take root and get into power through ignorance on a mass level. And if people do not develop at a soul level, if they don't ask questions, if they don't realize their true abilities, what they have to offer that can make this world a better place, they are what I call droneable. They are extremely easy to control. I have been concerned about the state our country is in for a very long time. And one movie that I saw that really nails it is the German film Das Leben der Anderen, which is a true story about a journalist who was under surveillance by the Stasi that ruled East Berlin until the wall came down. And the effect that it had on his life, and the links that the Stasi went through to find out everything they could about him and suppress his entire life. As someone with a disability who is in a continual battle for human dignity and human rights, at the time I watched this film, it was bone-chilling to me. But now, 20-some odd years later, looking at it again, I realize that the German people endured under the Stasi was very low-key compared to what we are enduring at this time. But the sad thing about it is that many people, I would say the majority, have buried their head in the sand. And that is because they are so caught up in bashing and laying blame on who voted for who as to why we are in this position, or what religious belief they have. There is so much venom and hatred being spewed towards one another that it is consuming our nation. That takes up space in the mind. It prevents creative thought. It prevents the God-given higher consciousness that is waiting to emerge through a higher way of thinking that effectively solves problems. So whatever is taking up space in your mind is where your consciousness is going to go. And if you remain in the lower energies, you are only contributing to the problem. You are not being a part of the solution. It takes creative thinking. It takes healing at a soul level. It takes great abundance in love, wisdom, and spiritual power that can only come through the development of higher consciousness. On the other hand, if We choose to stay in denial because we consider ourselves to be well-fixed and privileged, and we prefer to sit on a veranda somewhere drinking mint juleps or cappuccinos, watching the world go by, saying, oh, that poor soul, that poor soul. Oh, that's a pity. Or, oh, they put themselves there. This is what they did. When we don't really know their circumstances, we don't know that maybe that family that is struggling tremendously and can't afford utilities is because we haven't ourselves addressed the fact that the utility companies are criminally ran, especially here in California. That people are being bilked. They are being lied to. Same thing with the right to drive. Fair housing, medical. Unless people are willing to see the truth, we are going to continue in this downward spiral. We can come out of this if individuals begin to band together in communities and seriously address the real problems, not the fake ones that feather the nests of the ego and the false persona of gentrification that is all a part of authoritarianism, because the most beautiful places in the world are the PowerPoints where they gravitate to by rooting others out. Think about this. When you can't reasonably pay your bills or buy food or maintain every other necessity of life or your home as it needs maintenance, the trickle-down effect in employment due to nasty political reasons, even to the point of keeping people out of housing or medical care simply because someone doesn't like their spiritual beliefs or they don't approve of their marital status. Think about these things and think about whether or not you want to be a part of the solution to healing this nation. I wish you great love and many blessings.